How's it going, Goomy Gang? And welcome to yet another Warzone shotgun guide. And today is a special day because we recently just got like 30 new weapons added to the game from Cold War, so we're able to get our hands on 2 shotguns from that game in a completely different feeling environment. The guns look and feel slightly different, and they even have some different characteristics that we'll go over. Now, instead of just giving you a flat-out gun guide for them individually, I figured it would be interesting to instead compare the 2 most similar guns and see how each of them fare, at least for the Hauer. And today we'll be covering the 2 pump action shotguns of Warzone, the Model 680 and the Hauer 77. Now, there are a few other reasons for doing it this way. One of the big reasons is there are some attachments on the Hauer that, well, they just don't work. They have literally no effect. Right off the bat, I can tell you that the Task Force Extra Damage Barrel does absolutely nothing. I checked it so many different ways and it just doesn't add any more damage. It doesn't affect effective range overall. It doesn't really do anything. I shot up close with the base Hauer and the Task Force, and as you can see from this example, there's no difference, like not even slightly. And the max damage range is the same. I think it's just broken, or they didn't know how to implement it yet, so they just kind of ignored it for now. Also, the aim down sights affecting attachments don't work at all either. I tried all the grips and the results were pretty much in the same ballpark range, just sitting at around like 317 milliseconds, which is kind of slow. Even the airborne grip, which in Cold War gives you like a 30% faster aim down sight speed, was just as slow as the base speed. This really hurts the gun because aiming down sights is painfully slow and you can't get a tighter pellet spread quick enough. And this is by far one of the biggest issues I've ran into when using this gun in Warzone and Plunder. And another thing, the SOCOM blast mitigator for some reason acts like a duckbill choke in addition to the duckbill choke, already giving you a wider spread, but it's not supposed to be a pro of that attachment, so it just kind of doing it for some reason. So there's lots of weird, buggy stuff that just isn't quite right, and I think since they added 30 new guns, it's possible not all of them are going to function exactly like they should. So for now, we're just going to have to wait for a patch to see if they can address some of these big issues, specifically the aim down sights one and the barrel one. I think those are 2 big ones. That damage barrel, there should be something cool about it, I think, something cool and unique, and I really hope to get those ADS attachments working because it's driving me insane having such a sluggish aim down sights time. But the Hauer is still workable and it is still usable, so we're going to compare it to the Model 680 and see how each of them fare overall. First off, let's take a look at the damage profiles. The Model 680 has a max damage range of about 3.8 meters, and in this range it'll deal roughly 200 points of damage, so it isn't enough to one-shot fully armored players, but it can easily 2-shot. The model has an effective range of about 26.8 meters where you can consistently land shots, and past that the pellets will just disappear. The Hauer, as I suspected, has the same damage profile as the Model 680. It can deal around 200 points of damage up close, and it'll drop down in value the same way that the Model 680 does. It goes from about 200 up close down to 135, 100, and then less than 70 past any range you should really be using it. This applies to both shotguns. Now the difference here is the Hauer actually has a slightly smaller max damage range overall that only extends out to about 3.7 meters. It's just so close, and I tested it a few times to make sure I wasn't getting it wrong, but past 3.7 meters the Hauer will not deal that 200 damage, at least the base Hauer, but the Model 680 will. The effective range of the Hauer seems to be basically identical to the Model 680, with a range of about 26.8 meters to get consistent pellet hits. Now, if we kit out both shotguns with ultimate range increasing attachments, let's see who can come out on top. The Model 680 with the Sport Barrel and the Marauder Suppressor give you a boost of about 32% more range overall, taking that max damage range up to about 5 meters. The Hauer, on the other hand, only has barrel attachments to get more range and nothing else, and the Ranger Barrel is the one that gives us the best boost, and it takes the max damage range up to 4.7 meters or a 27% increase. Yet again, the Hauer fails just short under the Model 680. Let's check out the pellet spreads to see any noticeable differences. As you can see, the shotguns both have basically identical spread. There's really no crazy changes here. Now, when it comes to attachments, we have plenty of ways of changing it up. The Model 680 with the choke and the Sport Barrel gets a nice tight pellet spread that isn't really a slug type of spread, but it's just tight enough to get most of your pellets on a target if you're accurate. Now, when we take a look at the Hauer, sadly, no barrels change your aim down sight spread. None of them. And the choke, well, remember how it gave us like a pseudo slug in Cold War? it does not do anything close to that, and I'd be willing to bet this attachment is also not working correctly. Just look, there really is no change at all when using the choke and aiming down sights, so I'm almost 100% sure this is unintended. As of now, there is no real reason to use the choke on the Hauer in Warzone. It is completely broken and just does not work as intended. Now you can use lasers to help mitigate some spread, but it isn't that difference of a change for the Hauer. Now it does help, but not that much. And lasers, of course, on the Hauer don't change sprint out time. Speaking of sprint out times, the base sprint out time for the Hauer is sitting at around 283 milliseconds, and the Model 680 appears to be basically the same. Now in terms of getting the fastest sprint out time possible, they both get about 10 frames or 167 milliseconds at their fastest. For the Model 680, this is with the green 5mW laser, and for the Hauer, it's with the no stock attachment. With aim down sights times, the Hauer is slightly faster at about 317 milliseconds compared to the Model 680's 350 milliseconds, but sadly, the Hauer's attachments don't really help with it. So like I said before, the attachments just don't seem to work in helping sprint out time, at least at the time of this video. Hopefully they can fix that, but right now the Model 680 is definitely better here because you can actually, I don't know, do something about it with attachments. So far the Model 680 is just kind of better in a lot of ways, but when we take a look at the rate of fire, you'll see it's actually not too bad in Hauer land. The Model 680 is now sitting at around 70 rounds per minute. Now I believe it used to be 80, and maybe it was some error in testing before, but I keep checking and it's pretty much stuck at 70 RPM for a fire rate. I even checked with a damn metronome since I'm a drummer just to make sure. Now the Hauer though actually destroys the 680 in this regard because it can shoot at roughly 88 rounds per minute, and the rate of fire barrel seems to take it up to about 94-ish rounds per minute. This is awesome and definitely a strong point of this gun. Now the time to kill for the Model 680 is going to be around 850 milliseconds, which is painfully slow, but the Hauer is going to be more at around 681 milliseconds, and if you use that faster fire rate barrel, it's going to take it down to about 638 milliseconds. It is much faster, but it's still not super competitive when you compare it to SMGs and ARs. It's still just relatively slow in time to kill compared to most guns, especially the MAC-10 that everyone and their mother seems to use now, and MP5s, but it's nice to be able to pull off some much quicker follow-up shots, so long as you can get that timing down pat with the gun. So when it comes to one good reason to use the Hauer 77 over the Model 680 as a pump action shotgun, it's definitely the rate of fire. Unfortunately, that's pretty much the only objective reason why the Hauer is better than the Model 680 right now, at least when it comes to using buckshot. You can make the Hauer work, and it's fun and it's different, but when it comes to most everything else, the 680 is just usually the best go-to pump shotgun. But let me give you my reasons why you should use the Hauer over the 680 and try it out. It's got a faster fire rate, it's got less visual recoil, so it's easier to hit follow-up shots if you're aiming. It has the duckbill choke, which is a nice addition for spread, and the base version has a slightly faster aim down sights time. Of course, in the subjective realm, I like its feel and how it looks more like a traditional shotgun you'd find in your dad's basement or something rather than a military style shotgun. But really, the main reason the 680 is just better is because you can use Dragon's Breath on it. This alone just kind of negates the Hauer. The attachment variety on the Model 680 is far superior, from slugs and good suppressors to help with range and don't hinder it, and just the overall versatility is just so much better. But Dragon's Breath, as you know, gives you more damage overall, and it's my number one competitive way to run a 680 in Warzone. Since the Hauer can't compete with that, I think it's safe to say the Model 680 is still the king of pump action shotguns in Warzone, despite its slower fire rate. But that doesn't mean the Hauer is useless or that you shouldn't use it. I find it refreshing to use, and it's a blast to get some satisfying armor cracks with it. Now, you have an overall different and new fresh pump action shotgun to use, which is what I've been waiting for in Warzone for quite a while, so while it isn't an optimal shotgun by any means, it's a lot of fun and it's a good way to kick back and try something new and to stop using the, the doof that everyone's been using. And guys, that is just about going to do it for this video. Now, hopefully there will be a patch soon to help fix the Hauer and its attachments that don't work, but even then, even if we do get a patch for that, I don't think it's going to be as good as the 680 with Dragon's Breath on. And honestly, I think that they should make that damage barrel do something cool, like maybe function as if it had Dragon's Breath with the damage, but it doesn't. It's just kind of a base buckshot version. I think that'd be a nice way to balance it and give it some edge over the 680 680. The fire rate is really nice, and it's definitely one of the more cool things about the gun. Now let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the Hauer? Do you think it's a good shotgun? Do you think it's still kind of mediocre? And with all that being said and out of the way, I want to wish you all a happy day/night, and I will see you in the next video.